Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by bigfouraccountingfirms.com. If you enjoy our show, don't forget to help us out by subscribing to this podcast, sharing it with a friend, and providing us with a review on iTunes. Check out the show notes below for the link. Thanks, and enjoy the show.
Today, I wanted to go over a story that we covered in a previous podcast in more detail to provide more insight into how the Big Four conduct their business. In a previous podcast, we discussed Deloitte's biggest client wins in 2017, and one of those clients was Chipotle. Deloitte won a project with Chipotle to help rebuild their mobile app. And the reason why I wanted to go over this is because sometimes the Big Four accounting firms can be a little bit confusing. What they do on a day-to-day basis can be confusing because if you watch all their videos online and their marketing videos and their social media, you don't really get a good idea of what they do. They just say that they audit large companies and they enhance quality, add value, and they do the same thing when they market their tax and consulting services. And they're doing this for a reason. They're doing this so that they don't pigeonhole themselves into one category of business. Like we only provide audit services to financial firms, or we only specialize in indirect tax, or we only specialize in management consulting. They want to make sure that clients hire them for everything, whether it's marketing or a technology implementation, digital transformation, blockchain development. So that's why they're purposely vague like that. And a really good example was this Chipotle engagement that they won. And what we didn't cover in that previous podcast is why Deloitte won the project. And we're going to go over now reasons possibly why Chipotle chose Deloitte over, let's say, a technology firm. And one of the reasons is that Chipotle could not choose their auditor to help them develop their mobile app because that would be a consulting project. And in many cases, it is hard for these large firms to get a consulting project ratified by their audit committee because of independence rules. So they go to other firms, and many times they go to the other Big Four, which would be KPMG, PwC, or Deloitte in this case, because Ernst & Young is the auditor of Chipotle. And how did this project come about anyway? Chipotle had many problems with food safety, as you know. So since they recovered from that food safety scare, they've been trying to grow their revenue and grow their company. And one of the key ways that they make revenue is through their food, and especially at lunchtime. If you've ever been to Chipotle, it's very busy at lunch. And one of the problems at lunchtime is that there's long lines, and they miss out on many customers that might be covered by possibly ordering ahead via a mobile app. And as you might know, some other companies like Starbucks let you order ahead and pay in store via their mobile app. And a lot of people at Starbucks, they avoid waiting in long lines because their drink's just waiting for them. So Chipotle investors knew that they could earn more revenue if their mobile app was better. And the problem was that Chipotle's app had a 2-star rating. So they had a mobile app, it just wasn't working the way that the investors thought they were. So that they could be earning more revenue and they weren't. And oftentimes their people ordered and their order wasn't ready when they came in. So therefore they needed to improve their app. So they put it out to bid. Obviously, most times this is called a request for proposal in the consulting or audit world. And this means that they put a request out to all consultants. One of the reasons that when they put these requests out to all consultants that they choose the Big Four is because the Big Four are already approved in their approved vendors list. What this means is that large corporations have a control to prevent fraud and control costs. And that's the approved vendors list. You have to go through background checks and other various checks that companies go through to make sure that you can be a vendor, you can sell services or goods to them. And the Big Four are frequently on this list because they're large professional services firms, and they're usually auditors, or they provide accounting help or some other kinds of consulting projects. And most of the Big Four have done work for all the Fortune 500, and they've been on this approved vendors list for years. And this is why a company would choose a firm like Deloitte instead of choosing a technology or coding firm for developing a mobile app. And that's what I would wonder if I were an investor of Chipotle. Why didn't they choose a technological firm? And this is probably just, they wanted to get this app built up and they wanted to do it quickly. And they just looked down their approved vendors list and, chose the Big Four. And if you need a quick fix and you say we're hiring one of the largest consulting firms in the world, nobody's going to second guess you. But just because the Big Four are out there and they're easy to hire, does it mean they do a good job? Specifically, how did Deloitte do on this Chipotle app? Well, I searched the internet because this project was given to Deloitte in August of 2017. and it was supposed to be developed very quickly, so I checked back up on it. It was deployed in November of 2017. It didn't seem like Deloitte did a very good job, and the ratings didn't change much on the app, and many people said that important features were still missing, like the ability to order ahead, and there were still many errors, and screens wouldn't load, and there are many page errors. So it doesn't seem like Deloitte did a very good job of improving the app. It seems like they came in and they issued the press release about working with Chipotle, but they didn't execute. And the reason I'm talking about this is because this is very common in the Big Four, right? They have this vague marketing and they win big projects and they try and get in all these areas and, they don't necessarily execute. But it doesn't really hurt them, right? Because a big company needs services in a pinch. And so the Big Four are always there. You're never going to hear about these type of things. The only reason I found this is because I specifically searched for it. So you see all these marketing videos and these social media campaigns about the Big Four, about all the big projects that they win with large companies, but you never hear about the conclusions. And that's why I'm going over this. It's like because they have these huge marketing campaigns, their brands are always looking strong and they're always ever present on the top of the minds of the Fortune 500, but they're not necessarily able to execute because they don't have the specialties of designing mobile apps. But you don't see their marketing campaign saying, we can design a mobile app for you. They just say, we know about technology. And so when a large company should be hiring a more technological savvy firm, they don't because they don't know coding for a mobile app. The CEO of Chipotle doesn't know who's a specialist in developing mobile apps for restaurants. But they do know Deloitte because Deloitte is everywhere. So in conclusion, you can now get a better idea of why the Big Four are a little bit more vague when they talk about their services and how they win projects so easily, even if it doesn't seem like they should be winning a project related to developing a technological solution or what they're doing more recently, which is developing blockchain solutions and marketing. You're going to see them out there bidding on all these things and probably winning it because large corporations are familiar with them. But do they have the know-how? Not all the time, but that doesn't really matter as long as they're pounding the pavement saying that they can do anything. People will continue to hire them because they are large companies that people are familiar with and they're good marketers. There might be a smaller technology firm out there that could have done a better job for Chipotle's mobile app, but we'll never know because they're not as good as marketers as the Big Four. So will Deloitte's brand be hurt by them not executing on the Chipotle app? No, they'll probably be just fine because they're going to be out there tomorrow saying, we have expertise in developing mobile apps now. They could just add it to their resume and don't have to speak about the negative impacts. And also, Chipotle won't be quick to say that Deloitte didn't help them because they're going to be telling their investors, we hired a consultant to help us and we tried addressing the issues that were previously noted by our customers and we got it to market as fast as possible. They're going to pitch it in the best way for both sides. So you can see how the Big Four become the largest professional services firms and continue to stay the largest professional service firms.
We appreciate your help in growing this podcast so we can continue to bring you the best Big Four content possible. You could help us out by providing a review on iTunes, sending us an email with your comments, and don't forget to share with your friends. There's a link below in the show notes. That's our show for today. Thanks for listening and have a great day.